Okay. So these equations, they're not necessarily hard, they're just really tedious. So if you get like lost at any point, just ask me. So here, let's start with this equation. If you have paper, write it down. 4r plus 3s minus 3t equals negative 15. Negative 2r plus 3s plus 2t equals 13. And 2r minus s minus 3t equals negative 13. So the first thing here is I always label these 1, 2, and 3. And since I'm on the computer, I just did them with colors. Like if I was doing this in person, I would maybe use like a highlighter or something. But so we're just gonna, the first one will be the purple one, and then green, and then blue. And that will help keep us straight here. And when doing this, we have to use elimination. You can't, so you can use substitution, but it gets super ugly and we just don't want to do that. So we have to decide what to eliminate here. And honestly, it doesn't matter. It's just like what you think is easiest. And I chose r's because we have a negative 2r and a positive 2r right there. So I can just add those two equations right off the bat and they'll cancel. And then we're just going to have to manipulate something with the first equation to get it to cancel. But we have to use all three equations at some point. Okay. And if there's questions, just ask questions as I am going on this. But here, so we have 2 and 3. And I'm going to use 2 and 3 first just because these ones are easy to eliminate those r's. So I'm just going to add those together. Well, those r's cancel. And I'm left with 3s minus s is 2s. 2t minus 3t is negative t. And 13 minus 13 is 0. And I'm going to call that equation number 4. Okay, and so we have this equation now that's in terms of s and t. I need to find another equation that will also be in terms of s and t. We've already used 2 and 3. I just have to use 1 also. So I can use 1 with 2, or I could use 1 with 3. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to say let's use 1 and 2 together. So let's just write those ones out. We have 4r plus 3s minus 3t equals negative 15. And negative 2r plus 3s plus 2t equals 13. And we need to get the r's to cancel. Once you choose a variable, stick with that variable. You can't like switch variables in the middle of it. Okay, so to do that, I'm just going to multiply this bottom equation by 2 because multiplying the bottom equation is going to give me a negative 4r right here. And if we multiply that, you get negative 4r plus 6s plus 4t equals 26 because that's just going to distribute all the way across there. And then again, same thing we did here, add the 2 together. Those 4r's cancel. 3s plus 6s is 9s. Negative 3t plus 4t is positive t. And negative 15 plus 26 is 11. And let's call that one equation number 5. Okay, so now we have equation 4 and we have equation 5. Is there any questions to this point? Okay, just unmute your mics. You can interrupt me if you have questions. But once you get down to 4 and 5, you'll always put 4 and 5 together. So we're going to put equations 4 and 5 together. So now we have 2s minus t equals 0 and 9s plus t equals 0. Well, notice this is already set up for us that if we add these together, those t's are going to cancel. That doesn't always happen, but it happened in this case. So those t's cancel. And I'm left with 2s plus 9s is 11s. 0 plus 11 is 11. Then just solve this for s. So I divide by 11, and you get s equals 1. Okay, and I'm going to bold that because that's important. We have to, once you find one of the variables, this should start to just break down easily. Because now we can take this s equals 1 and you can plug it into 4 or you can plug it into 5. It doesn't matter which one you plug it into. You'll get the same answer for both of them. So it looks like I just plugged it into 4. So I did 2 times 1 minus t equals 0. Well, 2 times 1 is 2 minus t equals 0, and then you just solve this for t. So subtract that 2 to the right side, and you get negative t equals negative 2. Well, that means that t equals positive 2. Okay, and once you solve for those two variables, then you'll plug it into 1, 2, or 3, doesn't matter which one, and that's where you'll solve for the first variable you chose to eliminate. So now we're going to solve for r. And it doesn't matter which one we plug this into. I plugged it into the third equation. You could plug it into the first equation or the second. You're going to get the same exact thing. But we have 2r minus s, so minus 1, minus 3 times t, so times 2, equals 13, which that's 2r minus 6, or minus 1 minus 6 equals negative 13. 2r minus 7 equals negative 13. Add that 7 over, so you get 2r equals negative 6. Divide by 2, and you get r equals negative 3. Okay, and then the final thing here, you have to write this as an ordered pair, and it's always alphabetical order. So if you're not sure of what order it is, just like seeing the alphabet, and it's whatever, it's just alphabetical order. So RST, and it's usually the order that these come in, like this comes RST. So that's going to be negative 3, 1, and then 2. Okay. Is there any questions with that? I have 2 more examples. Since there's more people on here, I'll just go through those 2 examples. But if there's questions, just stop me and I will answer the question. The biggest thing with this is stay organized. Okay, just stay organized as you go through it, because like one negative will throw off your entire problem. Let's look at this one. So 5x plus 6y minus z equals 26. 4x plus 2y minus 3z equals 13. And negative x minus 6y minus 5z equals negative 20. Again, we need to choose which variable to eliminate. And we need to label these equations 1, 2, and 3. Now, looking at this, you could eliminate x's. You honestly could eliminate any of these, like they wouldn't be very hard. I chose to eliminate y's because we have these like opposites right here. We have 6y and we have negative 6y. That means we'd only really have to eliminate, or we'd have to manipulate to that second equation there. So then to do this, we have to use all the equations. I'm going to put 1 and 3 together first, since those eliminate the easiest. And if we just add those 2 cancel, and we have 5x minus x, which is 4x. Negative z minus 5z is negative 6z. And 26 minus 20 is 6. And let's call that equation number 4. And then we used equations 1 and 3. We have to use equation 2, and it doesn't matter if I use it with 1 or 3. I'm going to choose to use it with 3 since they're already opposite signs here. Okay. And then to do this, I know that this is a negative 6. I can get this to be a 6 just by multiplying by 3. So I'm going to multiply that top equation by 3. And when I do that, that's 3 times 4x is 12x. 3 times 2y is 6y. 3 times negative 3z is negative 9z. And 3 times 13 is 39. And then we can just add these together. When you add them together, those cancel. So I have x plus 12x is 11x. Negative 5z minus 9z is negative 14z. And negative 20 plus 39 is 19. And we're going to call that equation number 5. Okay. Once you get equation 4 and 5, you always put 4 and 5 together. So we're going to put 4 and 5 together. And we have 4x minus 6z equals 6. And 11x minus 14z equals 19. Now, neither one of these are necessarily easy to eliminate. So I'm going to eliminate the x's here. Okay, and I'm going to multiply this top equation by 11. And I'm going to multiply the bottom equation by negative 4. Because what that's going to do here, if I multiply this by 11, that's going to give me 44x right there. If I multiply this by negative 4, that's going to give me a negative 44x. So if there's ever a time that you don't know how to eliminate it, just take like whatever number is on the bottom, multiply it to the top, negate the top number and multiply it to the bottom. Okay. Then for the top there, you get 11 times 4x is 44x. 11 times negative 6z is negative 66z. And 11 times 6 is 66. For the bottom, you get negative 44x. Negative 4 times negative 14z is 56z. And negative 4 times 19 is negative 76. Then we can add these because now our x's are going to cancel. Negative 66z plus 56z is negative 10z. And then 66 minus 76 is negative 10. Divide by that negative 10, and you end up with z equals 1. Okay. Once you get one variable, the problem is going to break down for you. So now we can take that, plug it into 4 or 5. It doesn't matter which one. So I'm going to plug it into 4. You could plug it into 5. I promise you'll get the same thing. So we have 4x minus 6 times 1 equals 6, which is 4x minus 6 equals 6. Add the 6 over, you get 4x equals 12. Divide by 4, so x equals 3. Last step, we've solved for 2 variables now. That's where you get to go back to the top 3 equations, plug it into one of those. Doesn't matter which one, I plugged it into the second. So we have 4 times 3 plus 2y minus 3 times 1 equals 13, which is 12 plus 2y minus 3 equals 13. Well, 12 minus 3 is 9, so 2y plus 9 equals 13. Subtract that 9 over, you get 2y equals 4, divide by 2, so y equals 2. Okay, and then alphabetical order. So this is going to be x, y, z, which is going to be 3, 2, 1. Okay, any questions with that? These are just, they're tedious. Like it's just a tedious thing, but you're all very capable of doing it. It's just like making sure you keep organized through it. Let me talk through one more and then I'll show you guys the homework and then we'll be done. But so here we have 5a minus 2b plus 2c equals negative 8. Negative 5a plus 3b minus 4c equals 7. Negative 6a minus 6b minus 6c equals negative or positive 18. So label these 1, 2, and 3. And then choose what to eliminate. So I chose to eliminate c's here. We could eliminate a's, but then you're going to have to do like the double multiplication thing to eliminate the 1 from the third, which is totally fine. Like you could totally do that. We could have done the same and eliminated b's. I just chose to do c's, mostly to show you that you can do whatever variable. But let's put 1 and 2 together first. And remember, I chose c's, so I can't just add these 2 together because it's going to eliminate a's. And I don't want to eliminate a's. I want to eliminate c's. Once you choose a variable, stick with it. So to eliminate the c's here, I need to get this to be a positive 4. So I'm going to multiply that top equation by 2. And doing so, you get 10a minus 4b plus 4c equals negative 16. Now, when we add these together, they're definitely going to cancel. So then negative 5a plus 10a is 5a. 3b minus 4b is negative b. And then 7 minus 16 is negative 9. And again, just call that equation 4. Now I used 1 and 2, so I have to use 3. And I'm going to do 1 and 3. Because if I use 2, then I'm going to have to multiply both equations. But if I use 1, then I can just multiply this top equation by 3. So I can multiply that top equation by 3. And I'm left with 15a minus 6b plus 6c equals negative 24. 6c's cancel. I'm left with 9a minus 12b equals negative 6. And I'm going to call that equation 5. Put 4 and 5 together. And then choose what to eliminate. I'm going to eliminate b's here by multiplying that top equation by negative 12 to get that to be a positive 12. So I get negative 60a plus 12b equals 108. B's cancel, so I'm left with negative 51a equals 102. Divide by that negative 51, and you get a equals negative 2. Now we can take that, plug it into 4 or 5. 4 looks like an easier equation, so I'm going to plug it in there. So 5 times negative 2 minus b equals negative 9. Negative 10 minus b equals negative 9. Add the 10 over, so negative b equals 1, which means b equals negative 1. Last step, plug it into one of the top 3. So I'm going to plug it into the first. So that's 5 times negative 2 minus 2 times negative 1 plus 2c equals negative 8. So that's negative 10 plus 2c equals negative 8, which is negative 8 plus 2c equals negative 8. So add the 8 over, you get 2c equals 0. So c equals 0. Okay, my dog is right here. I don't know if you can see my face, but so that means that ABC, so that's going to be negative 1, or negative 2, negative 1, 0. Okay, any questions with that? Okay, I'm going to go through, so on the homework, it's pretty easy today. Well, I don't know if easy is the right word, but so it's just an assignment right here. If you click the day 3 assignment, and they're just different problems on this. So if we push preview, hopefully this pops up. It's just solving equations. So like this first equation, I would solve this one for z, and then you can plug it into this, solve that for x, and then you have x and z, and so you can plug it into the last one. And then you'll pick which one of these, so like Miss House, Miss Gagan, Miss Gilgan, whatever. And then keep going, keep solving these, blah, 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 all the way down. This one is just setting up the equation. So see if you can set up the equation. And then for this last one, you're just going to look back at your answers. So like say the first answer was Miss Gagan. So Miss Gagan was nervous to be going to the movies, blah, blah, blah. And you'll just go through that and then submit it. And then that's all you have to do. I think I gave you 2 tries, maybe 3 tries, but that's pretty much it for today. So if you have questions, feel free to stay on and ask questions. If not, that is it. I'm going to stop recording this.